to a special episode of Jews in the Media, Memorial Day, and Independence Day episode.
So,
Happy Memorial Day.
It's
weird. In the United States, you'd be like, "Hey, Happy Memorial Day," and you'd be out barbecuing.
And it was only actually when I got to this country that really started to irk me. Happy Memorial Day. Do you know what Memorial Day is? Happy is not the right word.
Well, yeah, it's a day you barbecue and you get off work and you get to go barbecue and you get some sales.
In action, that's what it is. But that's not what it ever was meant to be. Now, so I've heard some people say that they're celebrating what these men died for, men and women. You have to be.
But isn't that more what you do on July 4th? Isn't that the purpose of Independence Day?
Yeah, but
to celebrate, our independence.
Yeah, but they just want to celebrate, and of course have another reason for a sale.
Well, I mean, look, nobody wants to go to work, and people enjoy hanging out and barbecuing, and have a few beers. Nothing wrong with that. But it does seem odd for such a solemn event, such as Memorial Day. That's I like I like that before you celebrate Independence Day here, the day before you remember all the soldiers that have fallen to get us here. It helps keep everything in perspective, and you still get your day off and your day to party and everything else.
Exactly.
And I think it really helps keep it more of a memorial and not a celebration. You still have your time to celebrate.
Right, exactly.
But several, tens of thousands of people have died, serving in the military and, for the freedoms that we have.
Exactly.
And they deserve some memorying.
Absolutely.
Most of the TV channels, basically go dark, or they're showing special programming for Memorial Day. The names of the do they do the names of the fallen? So I feel like they do the names of the fallen soldiers.
What do you mean? No.
Am I thinking?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I feel like that's one of the things they do.
But Yom HaZikaron was originally for the fallen soldiers, but in recent years, and I actually remember when it started to become a thing. I think it was around when we pulled out of Gaza. Around that time.
2005,
but I think it was a little bit after it. I think it was the next Yom HaZikaron actually. They decided to also commemorate and memorialize people who had fallen from terror
victims
acts. Yeah. So it includes terrorists. It includes terror victims as well. But in the States, there's just no reverence to it.
No, I mean
it's just
with the exception
Memorial Day.
With the exception of families that have lost family members. If you lost your grandfather or your father, whatever, from World War II or Vietnam or something like that, if you had a memory, family member that was lost,
well, obviously,
then I think those people probably have a more solemn day. I would think so anyway. Probably some that are just like, this is what my granddad would want.
Yeah, I think a lot of people justify it by saying, well, yeah, that's they died for us, so we could party. Shut the fuck up with that.
Wow, you got to fight. Never mind.
Shut up with that. That's it's a bullshit argument, and it just shows that you're actually an asshole. If you're using that justification, to just go and party and get messed up. If you actually believe that, okay, I apologize. But that's unlikely that anybody is actually saying that and really stands by it.
Well, I don't think people sit there and say, "Oh my God, I have to have a better excuse than what I'm doing today, just hanging out with my friends and drinking." So I have to come up with some excuse. So I'll be like, "Oh well, the dead would want me to party because this is what I don't."
Yeah.
I don't think they're so much using it as an excuse. It's just they're just saying something when asked a question.
I don't know. I think it's a lazy excuse and a lazy reason to a lazy justification for continuing to just
There
get
probably
drunk.
were some soldiers that were like, that's how they would want to be remembered, but that's how I would want to. Hey, I go, hey, Steve, woo.
One for my homies.
I'd be
I
okay
don't know.
with that.
But that's not what the day is for. I would remember your yard site in that way, but not your Memorial Day, because the Memorial Day is for all of them, for everyone. It's not just for the individuals.
People grieve in different ways.
Yes. So. Yeah, obviously we didn't start with a song.
Look, these people died for their rights, their freedoms and everything else, and how they choose to give thanks for that is their own choice. And if how they choose to give thanks is by taking a day off of work and partying and everything else,
but I think
it's their right and everything.
I think it's a bullshit
so.
Justification.
I think it's their right and everything to do so.
No,
All
but
I
think it's just a bullshit reason that
keep
they
the tone down. It's a solemn day.
I think they have just. They're using it as a reason to drink, as opposed to actually commemorating these people's lives and these people's dedication and these people's memory by getting drunk. I think a lot of people are just saying
the fact that they have a day off. Whatever that day off is, they're using that day off after the winter, with nice
Labor
weather.
Day, Memorial Day, Mother's Day, whatever holiday.
Okay, they get these
whatever
holidays.
Holiday that coincides coincidentally with a sale.
Well, I don't think it's coincidence. It's not like there's a sale on this day and it just happens to line up with the holiday.
But all of those holidays, none of them are revered. None of them are really respected, I don't think. And I only say that because you come here and you really
what
see
better
it.
way to say thank you for someone who's lost a relative
okay,
than to give them 12% off on a couch.
That's true.
That's also what I would want. I would want cheap furniture for my family.
Soldiers died for me to get a cheaper couch.
Well, look, if something were to happen to me in a war, I would no longer be there to help provide for my family. They're going to need cheap couches.
That's true. I remember working in the Agolot at in the carts in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
And we after a while I started doing logistics. I was basically the logistics manager, moving, ordering stock, making sure there was stock, making sure it was in the right places.
Sure, making sure your slave labor carts were filled with product. I got you.
I wasn't slave labor. They were making a lot of money. Some of these kids were making a shitload of money.
Sure. While they were chained to their apartments and you were driving around in their
the thing
vans
is,
with the windows blacked out that you used to rent.
No, they were making a lot of money because they were selling products that cost about $25. They were selling for $1,000. So they were making a lot of money because there was just an unbelievable markup. All of that Dead Sea stuff you can get online much cheaper. Don't get it in the malls.
Because they're not.
They just make a lot of enemies.
And don't worry though, they're not really slave labor.
So I was also responsible for getting all of the furniture for the apartments. Securing the apartments, getting the deals,
Cells.
So I had to settle the deals with the apartment owners. You know, wow, what do they even call it here in the States? The company that runs like the whole apartment, because they don't have that here.
Real estate,
The apartment.
Yeah, it's called like real estate management services.
Wow, I've just completely lost on American lingo.
Property management or something like that.
Yeah, whatever it is. So I would, settle the deal, but then load up all of the furniture. So I'd go to Goodwill and the Salvation Army, and one time I got a 50-foot truck, which was fun because I had my license from the Army here, but I went to these places, loading all of the equipment up, loading all of the stuff into the back of the trucks, and they would sell couches for $80 or $50.
When I moved into my apartment, last
so
apartment
I didn't
lived
need.
in before.
Sorry, all of this is to say that I don't need the Memorial Day sale.
Oh yeah, no, I moved into
I was just getting to that.
my last apartment. I bought like 2 couches and like 3 tables.
I loaded up with some amazing furniture
for like $200.
I got everything for free.
But $150 would have been better.
I got everything for free because I made deals with the Salvation Army or Goodwill, whichever one it was. Listen, I want to take this one and this one and this one and this one. Like I was getting 8 couches, 8 love seats. I was loading up 8 apartments. So I was getting furniture, night tables, and everything for 8 apartments. So they gave me an extra one thing for my apartment, because I had an apartment, my own apartment as well. So I got some really nice, classic, actually possibly very expensive furniture, but people just
So you
gave it
took
to
advantage
Goodwill.
from your position to better furnish your apartment than everyone else's apartment was furnished. Interesting.
I was doing the work.
Interesting.
I was doing the work.
Well, they were working too.
And they were getting much more money than I was.
Okay.
If they wanted other things, they could have gotten it. But I was doing all of the work, loading everything up onto the truck and bringing it in and delivering it. Huh?
Would you say that you had a position of authority in your position in what you were doing?
Not over other people, no. No, it was a different department. I was.
You had power over their furnishings, and you abused that power.
No, they also got coffee tables and couches and love seats and beds and all the furniture.
But you got a little extra because of your position.
No, well, they didn't pay for their furniture. The company paid for the furniture,
Okay.
furnishing the apartment. So they were buying it for all of us and me as well, because I was one of the employees. It was just because you go to Goodwill and there's no two are alike.
So they were throwing you like
So
a kickback almost.
some are better than others. So I took the better ones. If somebody else saw it and they wanted a better,
giving you a little extra, taste on the side. Yeah,
for my business.
Well,
No, you go to
it went to the boss. It went to someone else's apartment, or it went to you in your apartment.
You go to a store and you want to buy a bunch of something, you get a little bit of a discount. That's what we got.
Did you know I'm just messing with you, right?
So I got the discount. No,
I'm calling you a corrupt politician.
Yeah, I know, okay. I know, and I'm explaining because it's not really. There was no corruption.
It was just kind of a joke. You really don't need to explain your innocence.
No, but it is actually a good dialogue. It is something that we can actually talk about because it's tangible. It's something that. But yeah.
Sure, because I'm sure if someone was listening, they would be really interested in hearing about the logistics of the furniture and whether or not you were corrupt by getting an extra coffee table.
What? No, it was like a coffee table with doors on it. So there was a cabinet underneath.
You corrupt bastard!
as opposed to the other ones that had drawers.
You are what's wrong with this world.
Drawers, again, drawers, not draws.
Draws.
No. He draws.
Yeah.
He does not drawer.
He draws stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you keep your stuff in a drawer. What's the problem?
You draw your stuff from the drawer.
Yeah. You can draw things out of the drawer.
The more you know.
I was doing a little bit of reading today. Let's check your Independence War 70-year ago trivia.
70 years.
Because 70 years. Yeah, was all that.
Well, not
You
yet.
worked
Not
hard.
yet. Not yet.
You worked hard for it.
The world could end. Syria war coming up,
Well,
and
it
World
will
War
end.
III
It will end eventually.
will be in
What could happen any minute now? We don't
10
know.
million years or
10 minutes. We don't know.
2012. 2012, the world's ending.
You didn't hear? It did.
It did.
It got fixed.
You know what it was?
Got better.
You know what it was?
Zero was out of place.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a world. It was an era. By era, I'm referring more to the ice era. Things like that.
All right, we can talk about that during the Ice Era show.
No, it was the ending of an era, which was the water era. Somebody used that word, water era, where everything is thawing out. Global warming.
So anyway, I was reading
in
about
the few years before and the few years since, there has been a drastic change. I do believe it is caused by man to a great degree, but it's interesting that that's what they say anyway, that the Mayan calendar was counting down till the next era, which was the thawing of the ice caps. It's not going to happen overnight. That's stupid to think. But in this, it's happening. Ever so slowly, but it's not going the other way. They're not freezing more. You were saying?
No, I'm sorry. I was just listening to your fascinating stories of global warming in the middle of the Yom HaZikaron and Independence Day show. It was fascinating.
70 years.
I was glued to my seat. I was on the edge of my seat.
No, you're fully on the seat, and there is no glue. I didn't put any glue down.
Nor was I fascinated.
Oh.
So I was reading. Do you know how
trivia.
long it was between the time that we actually established our independence? Okay, in Independence Hall down around the corner from here. Okay,
They've set up...
and how long it is before they actually started bombing?
They've actually set up 5 or 6 stands of 3D projectors on all of the buildings. I really want to have a chance to walk down there tomorrow, but I'm going to be on my rooftop doing our party. But how many years between what? I got sidetracked.
How much time between the time that we actually declared our independence, okay, before the Arab armies started bombing us? I was never really sure about that. I'd pretty much gotten my timeline from movies on the subject, but I never really read about it and knew an actual timeline.
I've heard...
Was it that day? Was it the next day? Was
I've heard 3
days
days.
later?
I've heard 3 days. I thought that it was that day or the next day, but I've actually specifically heard 3 days later.
Well, you heard wrong. It was that evening.
It was that evening.
I don't know what time of day the
But was it
declaration was.
full fledged, or
but
there was
no,
an isolated
it was,
attack?
no. It was that evening. The Arab armies invaded and they started bombing the cities. Artillery coming in. That started the official war. Now, actually, a year before. Okay, in 1947, when the British declared that they were pulling out and everything else, that's when unofficially when the war started. Okay, because it was after that all these groups really started. Lots of Arab groups started that were living within what's now Israel. Okay, started actually causing terror attacks, going into Jewish villages. What happened was the Arab village, wherever you had a Jewish village, they were usually surrounded by Arab villages. Okay, and all the main roads and everything ran next to these Arab villages. So what happened was Jewish buses, okay, or cars going from these Jewish villages were coming under gunfire. Okay, cars were getting stopped and people were getting killed on the roads and stuff. This happened up a year beforehand.
Was this at Ammunition Hill? I forget what you know Ammunition Hill.
I do not remember exactly what Ammunition Hill is.
It's all the trenches in East Jerusalem on a hill. Givat HaTachmoshet.
I don't know what war that was from because there were
several. You know where I'm talking about, though, right?
Not specifically. I'm sure I've been there. I know I've been there. But
it's all these trenches.
Yeah, well, remember something. Jerusalem, during this war, Jerusalem was besieged. Okay, the roads were cut off and everything else. That's why they had to.
It looked like this.
They had to find a road. They had to build a road. Okay, what we wound up naming the Burma Road. Okay, the Israeli Burma Road. It was just a little thing that like goats could climb or whatever.
Yeah,
we turned into a road to get trucks up to break the blockade. Okay, to Jerusalem to stop the siege.
Have you been there?
On the road?
On the Burma Road?
I have passed the entrance to it. There's like a sign. It's just like the end, but I've never like gone hiking up it.
It was right near one of my kibbutzim, so we went there once. Actually, it's long and parts of it you really need an off-road vehicle, but you can drive up a certain length of it. Part of one of the highways was made from the Burma Road, and then it cuts off into its rocky path.
It's pretty cool. So yeah, I read today that it was that evening because I never really knew what the timeline was, and I was reading an interesting article and everything about what happened during the war and everything, and it's kind of really relevant to what's going on today in Gaza. I think.
Yeah.
They're having this. They're talking about this. What are they calling it? The protest of return or riots of return or something about return. And there was this article about this from this Israeli soldier, and he was talking about how they displaced many Arabs for that held strategic their villages held strategic areas, and we got rid of them. And it was he said it was policy to remove these people from their land. Now it's really coming to bite us back in the ass now.
I don't want to justify by saying don't all other countries do that, but don't all other countries do that?
Well, let's remember something.
That's not an okay justification. Whether they jumped off a bridge, so we should have.
We removed a whole lot of Arabs from their land. At the same time, the Arabs also expelled all the Jews from their land. Meanwhile, we found room for them in our country. That's why there's no Jews running around saying we want our homes back in Syria and Iran and Iraq and Lebanese Jews.
Of course.
I don't know.
Of course.
I know of the major. I don't remember.
Of course
Lebanon.
there are.
Okay, the Lebanese
There's Syrian
Jews.
Jews. There's Jordanian Jews. There's from all over.
I don't know if there's Jordanian Jews because I don't think at that time there was a Jordan.
Oh yeah.
Because remember, Jordan was supposed to be Palestine, and then it was essentially stolen by someone's cousin. Decided,
Persia. I mean, I guess
I
it was.
don't remember.
I don't know.
I don't think it was Persia.
Miriam?
Persians weren't Arabs. I think it was an Arab. I think it was like the cousin of the guy who was in charge of Syria at the time, or something like that. Assad's like uncle's cousin, whatever, and it was just like, yeah, why don't you take this for yourself? And then he became the king of Jordan. I might have the countries mixed up, but it's something like that. Made a nice little, got his cousin a nice little job as king. Who doesn't like that?
Yeah.
But yeah, we displaced people. They displaced people. We found room for our displaced people. Their displaced people are forced to live in slums to continue the war. Because these countries that, you hear about these camps and these Palestinian camps in Syria and in Lebanon, you hear about the camps and everything else. Well, first of all, they're not camps. Like, they're not sitting in little tents, okay, hurled around in these. Okay, they're cities.
Camps.
They're cities. They're cities. They got buildings, and they're not sitting in little tents, which is what you think of when you think of refugee camp. You think of something out of like World War II. When like the Jews were put in these camps, okay, and they show them, and they are really nothing more than little tents. Okay, that's what people picture when you say refugee camp. Okay, what the Palestinians are living in these countries are cities.
I think of
cities.
I think of like summer camp.
I don't.
No.
Refugees running around playing soccer and football and I don't picture that at all.
Going to the.
But the other Arab nations keep the Palestinians in there to keep them angry, to keep them keep the embers burning. Because it's not like we've made peace with any of these countries. They still want us dead. So they use the Palestinians as tools for our destruction.
A lot of them don't even like the Palestinians.
Nobody likes the Palestinians.
The
Palestinians don't like each other.
No. What I'm saying is a lot of like I've talked to some Syrians who don't like the Palestinians. They call them crybabies, and they're just making problems out of everything.
Well,
they're not helping anything move forward.
Well, yeah, but that's because of the Syrian government, and the Lebanese government, and the Jordanian government, and Iranian government. And
they look at
Hamas
sure
to keep them suffering.
Exactly, because that's the best way to.
Because if they had a life, maybe they wouldn't want to destroy Israel.
Right. And
maybe Syria and Lebanon and Iran and Iraq would have to put their armies at danger rather than using their proxy.
Well, you keep people impoverished, and they bend at your whim.
Just like the American politicians. Sorry, what?
What? How does that?
Oh, no. Like the Democrats. Sorry, that's what I meant.
How does what?
Because they keep you poor and give you handouts so that you're obligated to them. They never actually help you. That's what I was saying before.
No, I don't agree with that.
That's okay. You're allowed to.
No, but like that.
See how that works? Nobody got killed. He disagreed. I said something. He disagreed, and we didn't kill each other.
No, but you can back that up. That's not true.
Why do I have to back that up?
I mean, you're
back it up with facts. You mean like back it up and take that back?
No, you're not really stating an opinion. You're stating something as fact, but it's not a fact.
What did I say?
You said the Democrats keep people impoverished so that they're in debt to them?
Yeah, that's my opinion on what happens with all the handouts and everything that Democrats give to the all
And they
of
don't
these,
actually help people.
Well,
Every
no,
attempt
let me,
that
hold
the-
on.
hang on. Every attempt
let
that
me
Democrats
explain.
have had
There's two different
have made.
There's two different definitions of help. If you are hungry and I give you a piece of bread, I have helped you. If you are hungry and I give you a
No,
job
I'm talking
so that
about
you
programs.
can,
We're talking about programs
yes, I
to
know.
help people.
I know, and programs like giving them food and welfare and giving them. Not that I'm against welfare and everything, but I think that in a lot of cases these programs more not necessarily they were designed this way, but I think they give you money, but they don't really help you get yourself out of impoverishment. They pretty much keep you stuck where you are. A lot of these aid things you can only get if you don't get another job. You can only have these cheap housings if you don't get a good job. You can only get these they kind of set the rules up in a way that you have to sit there and not work and everything else to get this assistance, which really stops you.
I'm gonna let you continue, but everything you say is basically nullified by what I'm about to say.
Okay, then let's hear what you're going to say that's going to nullify everything I've said.
All of these things are concessions that the Democrats had to add in so that the Republicans would pass their bill.
When did this happen?
It always happens.
Okay. So
They won't pass a bill like this. You have to amend it. We won't pass it like this. You have to amend it. We won't pass it like this. You have to amend it. You have to update it. You have to make it work for us. And the way that works for them is more money for them.
So
this has been happening.
Think that the bill that said that, like, for you to get welfare, that you can't work or have another job, you think that was a Republican stipulation that was put in there?
That could be.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it could be.
Really? Because it's the Republicans that want to keep you on welfare.
Why do the Republicans want to keep you on welfare?
Why would the Republicans want to keep you on welfare? It does nothing for the Republicans. As a matter of fact, it spends the money they want to take away from you.
There is... What was that?
The
I'll have to
welfare
look for this
programs, the
afterwards.
way they are designed,
No, there's
now, the way they are designed in the United States, hurt people. In my opinion, hurt people more than it helps them.
What was this?
It keeps them in a situation of impoverishment rather than being able to really help themselves. They can't afford food. Give them money for food. But then don't put such stipulations on how they can work and what they have to do and everything else to get these things. I think they should work. I think if you're on welfare and everything else and you don't have can't find a job.
Political risk looms over Republicans' welfare tinkering.
Okay.
What is that?
What does that have to do with what we were just talking about?
Has literally everything to do with what we were talking
No,
about.
because all you did was read a title. The title could mean absolutely nothing if you don't read the actual article.
Are we going to read the entire article right now? I don't think we are, right?
Okay,
No.
fine. But then you can't sit there and just bring up an article title that you've never read or haven't investigated or doing anything about and say, look, see these 5 words here prove my point. Political risk looms over Republican welfare tinkering.
That's more than 5 words.
How does that prove your point? How does those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, how do those 7 words
Jesus
prove
Christ,
that Republicans
chill.
are
Did
the
I
ones
say
that are
it
trying to
proves
keep
anything?
you...
Did I say it proves?
Well, yeah,
No, I
as a matter of
didn't.
fact, if
I
you
didn't.
rewind this, you can. You said, "Look, this kind of proves my point right here," and then you scrolled down to a different title without even.
I was looking.
I
was looking for something else. I was looking for more information.
So you did actually use those words, and we have them recorded and can check.
It could be. But again, you just changed what you said that I said. Pretty much proves, which is a modifier. Nevertheless, this is known that on both sides, the Republicans want to pass something that the Democrats don't fully agree with, so they have to change something for the Democrats. The Democrats want to pass something the Republicans don't agree with, then they have to change it for the Republicans. This has always been happening. And what happens in the end is the original bill is not what ends up getting passed.
But again, the
original
argument
was
that you said what I said isn't an opinion. It is. Because it is my opinion that the way that the welfare system and everything is set up right now, it continues the cycle of impoverishment. It doesn't help people get out of impoverishment. It doesn't help bring families out of the ghetto and bring them up to lower middle class or anything.
But you're
else.
saying that the Democrats' goal is not to help people. That's what you're saying. That the Democrats' goal is not to actually help people. And I'm saying that it is. But they have to adjust all of these bills to make it more palatable for the Republicans. That's been happening forever, though.
I see it as a bunch of people that are making good money and everything else, and they like their cushy jobs, and they certainly don't want to have to get real jobs. And they sit there and they do this because they know that if they keep giving these people handouts, they're going to vote Democrat, and these people keep them in their jobs.
I think you're not saying that. I don't know. I don't agree at all.
That's okay. You are 100% allowed to disagree. I'm not going to get angry with you, and there's going to be no violence.
I don't agree because not all people are evil. A lot of these people, by a lot, I really actually mean a lot. I don't know if it's the majority, but there's a substantial number of people, I think, who really actually want to do good.
I don't think they last long in politics.
I think some of them really have.
I think if someone came out and really wants to do good, I think they would get screwed. Maybe they would get a term or two, but I think in the long run they would get screwed over by.
They just need to be resilient.
Whatever they call it, the dirt in the whatever, the dirty house or whatever it is that needs to be cleaned. That they kept saying they're going to clean up and never do.
They just need to be resilient, and that's a tough call. That's a tough thing to ask for.
It is my opinion that the system is broken.
System is very broken. System is very broken. And I think the
reason why it doesn't get fixed is because the people inside of it don't want it fixed. And
Absolutely.
That's because of their corruption.
Of course. And
if the majority wanted it fixed, it would be fixed. I think that these people that that you claim are the non-evil ones, the ones that are there for, I think they are by far in the minority.
I don't think so. I really don't think so.
Well, that's your opinion, and you're welcome to it. We see things differently.
But anyway, what else? What else is new?
Nothing.
Today we're not really doing so much of a comedy show. As we said, you turn on the radio and it's all sad songs, and it's. I really love that about this country. That's one of the things that reminds me why I made Aliyah. Is seeing, the 8 o'clock. Most people.
I didn't hear it. I wasn't paying attention to the clock.
Most people.
It's not fair.
No, really, like 99.99999. Wait, how many people are in this country, and how many are you?
Well, the good thing about it is, just like at 8 o'clock, tonight when everyone except me was standing because I forgot. Everyone was also standing at 10 o'clock last week in the morning when the siren went off, and they, I'm sure woke up from out of their sleep or whatever it was they were doing and stood for that minute. I'm sure.
Yeah.
These things do happen.
But it's just amazing, to be on the bridge over the Ayalon. You hear the sirens start, just everybody stops in the middle on the highway, stops, gets out of the car, and pays fucking respect. Like,
It's you know a pretty cool thing.
It's real. Like, I really love it. You don't see that in the U.S.
Really, I remember when I was on kibbutz in the factory or whatever, but I've never been like on the highways when the siren went off.
Oh,
So
yeah?
I've never really, I've seen it in like videos and stuff, but I've never like actually seen it happen.
I was once on a monetary route, and we got off. Where was this? I don't even remember where this was.
Well, I had to get off a bus once for a siren, but it was a different type of siren. It was during the war. Luckily, we were under a bridge, but we still had to get out of the bus.
I remember the buses on that we would take on Route 90 to get to Kinneret from Jerusalem. Did you ever take that bus?
Jerusalem to Kinneret? No.
Yeah. Wow, really, really annoying drive because it takes forever, but it has the bulletproof windows. And I mean, bulletproof. You know, it sounds cool. You can't see out of them. So first of all, because you know they've been all scratched up or sandblasted, you know, just from driving through the desert like that. So they're all scratched. It's like looking through frosted glass. But it's a super heavy bus. Like you can feel it's got a beast of an engine in it to carry all the weight. But yeah, that was an annoying bus. But no, it's something else to see the reverence. I keep using that word because it really is. You know, it's respect for the country, for the people, for the core values of the holiday.
Well, here's the difference.
And those have been lost in the U.S.
In my opinion, here's the big difference.
To a large degree.
Most of the people here have served in the Army. And they're commemorating their brothers and sisters, friends, neighbors, you know. I mean, it's a lot more personal. Okay, their grandparents fought in the Independence Wars. Their father fought. I think it's in the '60s. You know, I mean, I think it's a lot more personal than in the United States. You know, you talk about, I mean, not so much World War II, but in the United States, when we think, you know, we talk about our independence, we're talking about over 200 years ago.
Well,
so you don't really think these things didn't so closely affect you and everything else. I think when we talk about Memorial Day, for most people, I don't think they're really so much thinking about Vietnam or Korea, or, you know, I think it's more of an abstract notion.
I think it's
further back in history that they're really thinking of.
I think it's beyond that. This is the Jewish homeland. The Jews are, 14 million in the world?
Something like that.
It's the Jewish homeland. It's, you know, I think that's what it is. It's the Zionism and the spirituality or the faith of being Jewish. I think that has, because, you know, being Jewish, you feel like you're part of something more exclusive, I guess. I think people have said that.
Don't explain it. Don't see. When people talk about that, and they talk about Jews being the chosen one, I don't like it. I don't like it the way it sounds like when you say it like that, because it almost sounds like, no, when you say exclusive, you must say, this is exclusive. You know,
no.
I think we have to make it clear that you're not saying.
Hang on. If you were a Zionist, you would be exclusive. It's just it's.
I'm not saying I don't understand what you're saying. I think you should make sure, though, to be very clear to when people say stuff like that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying we're better than
we're not
anyone.
saying
we are.
I am. I don't know about you. But.
No, I'm saying being part of such a small religion, a group of such a small group of people, you feel like you're part of something. You know, it's being a part of a tighter knit group. It's nothing really that I'm bragging about in any way. It's, you know, it's a matter of circumstance. I was born to Jewish parents, so I'm Jewish, and that's just how I became Jewish.
I don't necessarily
if I were born
agree that we're
to Christian
such a
parents.
close knit group. This
Sorry.
group hates that group. That group hates this. Is so much racism and everything else within our own groups, and then within subsects of these groups.
But you step out of
everything
that, and
else.
we're all Jews. You know, we're. I don't want to say on the same side because it's just bringing it back to war.
I don't think that's what makes it so reverent. I think that what makes it so reverent is again, just exactly what I said before, is how close and personal it is. A lot of these people have, war stories of their friends losing friends.
When I was here, when I was 12, 13, before I ever joined the Army, before I knew anybody who was in the Army, I respect it. You know, the siren goes off. Wow, that's really amazing. For me, it was just to see the people come together and all respect the same thing at the same time, to be respectful. To actually thank.
How many of your friends from high school went to the Army?
In the U.S.?
Oh no. Yeah. How many of your friends? How many people that graduated in your senior class? Not your friends. How many people from your senior class went? How many people did you graduate with? Let me start there.
6.
6 people graduated in your year.
Yeah.
And of those 6,
go ahead and ask that question.
How many went to the Army?
Oh.
So yeah, it's a little less than here.
I was here for 4 years before I went to the Army.
What?
3 years.
What does that have to do with anything?
I didn't know anybody who was in the Army here when I came here.
Yeah.
And I heard the siren go off for the first time and the second time and the third time and the fourth time. All the times I had heard the siren go off so many times before I was ever in the Army.
And you saw people being respectful for it, and you joined in with them. If there was no siren and it was just a day full of drinking and everything else, you might not have thought anything about it. You might have just said, well, this is exactly like we do at home. Okay. You wouldn't have thought anything differently about it because it would have been no different.
Exactly. So what's your point? That's what I'm saying.
I think the reason why it's so different, the reason why people actually treat it differently is, it's two reasons. One, I think it's more personal to them. Most of these people have gone through wars. They've lost family members and friends and everything else. So therefore, taking a moment to...
This isn't civilians who had hacked into the siren system and set the sirens off. The country sets the sirens off. They don't do that in the States. Start from that.
Yes.
Start from that.
Okay.
The grounds for being respectful for the country isn't there in the U.S.
Yes, you're right.
That's what I'm getting at. The country wants you to be respectful. The country wants you to honor Memorial Day.
Most
in the U.S.,
what's the percentage?
Let's put it that way.
What's
In the
the
U.S.,
percentage of U.S. politicians that have served?
In the U.S., the country wants you to go shopping, put some money more back in the system.
What do you think the percentages of American politicians that have served in the armed forces? There are a lot. There are plenty. It's not. No, it's definitely not. Oh.
No, there definitely a lot have. But let's ask how many Republicans and how many Democrats.
I have no idea.
That would be an interesting statistic.
But we don't have any facts. Anything we said would just be pure speculation based on our personal.
No,
feelings.
but we could find it. I mean,
all right. Well.
I mean, it's known if somebody was in the Army or not.
Well, yeah, but I don't think you can just type in how many American politicians were served in the Army and you're going to get an answer.
I mean, you want to try me?
I don't think it's going to be that simple.
You want to try me?
Yeah, go ahead. I want to try you because I've got nothing else to do.
Let's see if I can do it like this. How many Americans... No.
You could have.
How many... Population clock. How many American... Wow.
You know I'm not even doing anything to mess you up, right?
How many American politicians served in the military? How many Americans have served in the military? Veterans in Congress. That's just Congress. Okay, so then you can go to Congress and you can go to 110th United States Congress who served in. Yeah, this is from Wikipedia.
But again, those are both the same thing, just different years.
So this is 2014, and I don't know. 113th Congress. Oh, wow. 114th Congress will be made up of 70 current members and 11 incoming. Okay. What was this? 108 military veterans in the 113th Congress. So, well,
18% now versus back in the 70s.
1791.
Yeah, in the 70s it was 72%.
But you had the draft. I mean, that was highly affected by.
Well, I don't think you would have been in
Vietnam.
Congress if you would have been in the draft back then. It would have been years later. It would be later on, years later on, that you would serve in Congress.
Yeah.
So most likely those people would have been Korean vets.
Korean vets.
World War II.
Yeah. Again, huge. Was there the draft? There was a draft, obviously, in World War II.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and in Korea. Yeah.
Korea as well. It was a draft.
Oh, there was definitely a draft. Yeah, because in MASH they all talked about being drafted. In World War II there was a draft, but most people volunteered.
Okay. Here, 3 of the incoming. This is just talking about individuals. 3 of the incoming members are Democrat. No, that's.
Oh, and the other 7 are Republicans.
Yeah, but that's not military. This isn't talking about military yet. Who have served or are serving U.S. military. Yeah. That's
11
just people
new
who
members.
Were voted in. Yeah, I want to see on the whole. That's an annoying chart. I think this is.
It's interesting because at the same time, I think that Republicans are patriotic and do serve more than Democrats. Yet at the same time, you also have the image of the rich corrupt politician who does everything to
level.
not serve.
So exactly, there are I'm not on either side. Republican
Although so far it's
or
3 to
Democrat.
7, I'm winning. If you're keeping score.
People who are coming in.
Well, yeah, I said so far from the numbers we've seen. And as I said, it wouldn't be so easy as to just type it in and get an answer.
Well, it is in here, but I don't have the energy to read all of this while we're trying to do a podcast. We're supposed to be focusing on the actual podcast.
I think this makes it interesting.
No, it doesn't. Sitting here and reading something while people are.
Well, we're discussing what we're reading. This is interesting. We're trying to give accurate facts.
We're reading random words here. 16%
I think our listener would appreciate that.
Okay. Read.
No.
I'm scared. So you find it entertaining for me to sit here doing this, but not for you.
I was the one that... I was reading it, and then I stopped.
Right.
Because I noticed that it said military incoming members of Congress before you did.
What?
Never mind.
You're talking about this?
Yes.
A total of 7. Because
you said, it doesn't say military, and I said...
You're talking about a total of 10 people out of... How many people are in Congress?
Oh.
How many people? Wow. 100...
Well, I think it might have said it right there at the top.
Yeah. So 435. So 10 out of 435. That's your argument. You're taking a sampling of 10 of 435.
No, I said so far I was winning. That just means that so far in the tally I was winning.
Well, it's not really a
I was
contest.
Implying that from what we had tallied so
you're
far.
seeing this as winning and losing. I think you're going about this a little bit the wrong way. Because I'm going...
Yes, I see it as winning and losing. I don't see it as just something that we're doing.
Here, hang on a second. Let's see. What?
What are we looking at?
I'm not sure what this
Veterans
this chart
in
is.
American legislature. Okay.
I mean, this is what we're looking for.
But it doesn't give one breakdown over the whole country, does it?
Not really. It's just really weird.
But you know what? If you look at these numbers all together, it's saying that there's less than 1,000 of them. If I'm reading it right. about 500 in the Army, about 220 Air Force,
We're talking,
180
military.
Navy.
Military is all of this. Military is this whole thing.
Yeah, you add them up, and it comes to less than 1,000 members of our government have served in the military, if I'm reading this correctly. It's kind of sad.
Yeah. What I actually wrote down.
But again, the reason why the government does it here and they don't do it there, 1,000 people there have served. Most of our government here have served.
You brought something up about, or you alluded to something about experience. You elicited
When did I do all
thought.
this? I don't remember doing any of this.
When you just said, it's kind of sad how few people have served in the military.
Although I somehow feel that those numbers are...
Though these people are in a position where they're making decisions often that affect the military. Now, obviously, the people who are in the Department of Defense
Sure.
Are in the military and have been in the military. But it brought something up, and I don't really want to talk about the actual investigation or the end result. But Mark Zuckerberg, when he was testifying before Congress, I thought this was just ridiculous. I don't know. Did you see any of it?
No.
What really killed me about this, beyond people. Hey, people. What really killed me about this was that you have these 70-year-old people who don't even understand the questions that they're asking this guy about Facebook and ads and how they make their money. They just don't understand the concepts. I mean, these people are not ragging on old people, but they're too old. We don't have a representation of people who really actually understand what's going on in the world outside of the, 60, 70, 80-year-old range. And these people are making decisions, not saying that they shouldn't be there, but there should be a balance.
So because
Term
they don't
limits,
understand
essentially.
Facebook and they're talking about that affects the military? I don't understand.
No.
I don't understand how we got to
was-
Facebook from the military.
I wasn't relating to the military. I was talking about experience. People seeing something and understanding and having a familiarity with something.
Okay.
People have not served in the military, yet they're in a position to make decisions that affect the military and affect national security. Much like these people who are investigating Mark Zuckerberg, who don't even understand what they're asking him. They don't even... Either they don't have a Facebook account, maybe their grandkids have a Facebook account, and I'm not being glib, like that's an actual fact. Like a lot of these people, they're just so far out of the game, they've no frame of reference, no way to relate to what Facebook is. A massive community that allows you to connect with people from all over the world. That's already a concept. It's like bringing Beethoven from the 1700s and playing him, one of his songs on the demo button on a synthesizer. I mean, it would blow his mind. He wouldn't be able to comprehend it. It's just they're just so flabbergasted. You see this look on their face. What do you think about term limits? Because I just don't understand how somebody can be in such a position. I mean, for an endless amount of time.
Well, I'm all for term. I am absolutely all for term limits. But for totally different reasons. It's because corruption and everything else. It's harder for you to build up. You won't be able to build up a power base and everything else.
That as well, absolutely.
If you're only, if you're limited to 4 years, and then it goes to the next person, and then I think through that,
I'm
through
fine with
by basing
even 12
it
years,
on
16 years. I would even be fine with.
I am absolutely
But
against
30
having
years,
it that
however long you
because
want, is
that
unacceptable.
much time you have so much time to build your power base and get corrupt and everything else. 4 years, let the next person do it. This way, more people.
Again, you're afraid of the corruption side.
More people get through that job. Okay, which means that more of these people are going to be I want to say the average man.
Average man?
When you take the elitists and put them in, oh, well, of course he was bred to be a politician. He went to the right schools and everything. No, because these people aren't in touch with the average man. They're not in touch with what you and I go through and what Miriam and other people who are working 9-to-5 jobs and, renting a home, renting apartments and having to worry about groceries and insurance, health insurance and car insurance and retirement plans. They're totally not fucking thinking about anything even. You think they're more confused by Facebook? They're even more confused by that type of shit. So that's why I think there needs to be fucking term limits. Fuck them getting confused about Facebook and being out of touch because of electronics. Okay? Let's try and keep it to something that's actually relevant. They have no idea what it costs for bread or for milk or rent or what the average person has to go through in commuting. These motherfuckers commute on private planes and in helicopters and everything else, and they don't understand the concept of what a person has to go through commuting on a train or a bus.
Exactly. But for how many? What are you saying for term limits? I think 12 years.
Maybe 4 years is a little short, but 6. No, I absolutely don't think it should be much longer than that. I think these people should come in, do a job, and then the next person should come in and take it over.
The problem with that, though, is people are so disengaged with anything that's not on the presidential level that people will weasel in there and nobody will really even know. So you can really
great.
Muck up
So in 4 to 6 years, you're out.
Constantly
and
mucking
again,
up the.
It's not mandatory
the
that they stay for 4 to 6. Every 2 years these guys come up with a new election. So if the guy's bad, 2 years and he's out.
Right. But then 2 years later, the same thing happens again and again and again and again and again. I think it would make it much worse if you had such short
15 bad
limits.
guys or one bad guy? 15 people that might get through and do a bad job, or one guy that's going to do a bad job for 30 years? No chance that guy's going to get better at his job.
I don't want 15 bad guys.
Well, maybe the first 15 guys you elect are going to be bad over every 2 years or whatever. There's no guarantee that you're going to elect someone and they're going to be good at their job.
That's too short of a term. 2 years? That's the term limit?
That's what I think congressmen go. They have to get reelected every 2 years, I think.
You're saying that should be the
no,
term limit?
No. I'm saying if they're bad after 2 years, they would just be out during an election. But after I think 6 years, 2 terms, 3 terms, they should be out. Why should it be any different than a presidential?
Well,
President
gets 2 terms. Voted out. Of course they can get voted out.
But that's what I'm saying. If you vote for,
they got voted
you're
in.
saying,
they
can weasel themselves in and
But
this way, if they get voted,
they got voted in, and they keep getting voted in.
Okay, but then it's 3 elections and they're out. 6 years.
I think
maybe
6 is too short.
Maybe give them the same 8 that the president gets.
I think 6 is too short. You see too much evil in people. I think you're seeing that all of these people are evil.
Steve is right. Screw you, James.
On 6 years, I don't think 6 years is. I think 6 years is too short.
8. Give him the same 8 years as the president has. You can't say it's too short. It's what a president has.
8 years would be more apt.
But 10 years making it
would make more
career sense. No way, man. It shouldn't be happening. And you know what? And I don't necessarily think they should be allowed to go from here and then to this job, and so that they can be career politicians. I think you should be limited to, and then you do a job, you do a good job. Everyone says thank you, and you retire with a nice watch, chicken dinner and a nice watch.
Is it from Speed?
I don't know. It's from something.
Gold watch. Because Dennis Hopper.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know.
Made the bomb out of that.
But yeah. Well, no. See, that's what I'm saying, Mary. It should be 2 terms. But if a term is only 2 years, then James saying it's only 4 years. So then they should get 4 2-year terms, 8 years, the same as the president has. This way, nobody is sitting there building up such a powerful,
absolutely,
and if you're corrupt and everything else, and you do manage to play the system, and in 8 years we get someone new either way.
Senators and congressmen are the only ones who should be allowed to run for president, or maybe governors as well.
Well, you know what? Most of the most of the presidents
What was Obama,
don't.
city planner?
I do believe that most presidents or the best presidents weren't congressmen or senators. They came from governors. Apparently, running a state is more akin to running the country than running Congress or the Senate.
Well, it's a matter of knowing what you need to delegate. Having the ground rules for what you need to delegate and how to, and just, maximizing the scale. Yep. But they don't deal with military, though. I mean, I guess, I don't know.
State Guard. But then again, you're not really running the military. If you're, you don't really have experience running. You might have a little more knowledge of some, but I don't think really being a congressman or a senator really sets you up to have that running a state, running a country thing.
No, it's
legislate maybe, run no.
But this whole idea that he knows how to run a business. He knew how to run a business. So fucking what? The country is not a business. You can go back,
but this isn't new. Ross Perot nearly became had a chance at being president, and
he didn't really have a chance.
He really did. The reason, well, he came closer. He came closer to the third party candidate than anyone else ever has. Well,
his ears almost became president.
A lot of people liked him because they thought that a good businessman possibly could be a nice change.
Because they like Dumbo.
Sure, James. That's why they decided to do it, because they like Dumbo, and they voted Trump in because they like Oompa Loompas. Sure, they like orange people, and that's why he got in. Sure.
He was a businessman. He had a strong voice, and he was able to talk a big game and tell you exactly what you wanted to hear. He was a Wolf of Wall Street type. Told you what you needed to hear. His best friend. Listened to everything you have to say when he was doing a one-on-one. Really make you feel important, and then he comes out and fucks you over, doesn't pay you contractor bills, whatever it is.
Yep, typical politician.
No.
Yeah, come in,
politician.
Lie, promise you one thing, do something else, lie, cheat. Yeah.
Oh, presidents do pay. Because they get money off of what they're paying out.
Pay what? What do you mean they pay?
Well, Trump wasn't paying his contractors. Military contractors get paid. They don't not get paid.
Sure, but it's not the president that pays them either.
Right. But just to say that, he's a businessman. Yeah, he was a businessman. Great. He made money for himself. Other people sometimes benefited, and in his case, often not. But a businessman's goal is not for other people. It's for themselves. A businessman is there to make money for themselves. Mm-hmm. Why does he give a shit about the country? Why does he give a shit about other people? That's never been his interest. He's never given a shit about other people.
The two things are separate.
Only if it benefited him.
The two things are separate.
That's not a president.
A businessman has nothing to do with him wanting to help or means nothing.
But he's not a charitable person. He's never given anything.
But so that does not mean that because he's a businessman, he couldn't actually have some aspects that could help be a good president.
He's never shown any indication that he was a good person. There's never any indication that he did care about anyone.
Being a good person or caring about someone doesn't necessarily have any indication that you're going to be a good president. You can care the shit.
But
you can be the most caring and showing person, and that doesn't mean you'll be a good president.
Awesome. But the fact that you've never shown any interest in anyone wouldn't really give me any inkling that this guy is all of a sudden going to give a fuck about anyone else.
But that doesn't mean that he couldn't take that. Also, him not caring about you does not mean that he couldn't apply those things and improve the economy, which would be good for you. Even if he doesn't intentionally say, "I'm going to help James," it doesn't mean that he couldn't do something to the economy that would help James.
It's more likely that somebody who had always been good will continue to be good than somebody who has always not been good By good, I mean benevolent, caring, and charitable.
I'm,
Hang on,
I'm
hang
sorry.
on.
Was Superman or a Boy Scout running in the last
don't let me talk.
election? I don't remember seeing Mr. Goodman and Mr. Badman running
You
in the
really,
election.
you really don't see what I'm saying here at all?
I
You do see what I'm saying.
I don't. It's not that I necessarily don't see what you're saying. It's you make it sound like that we voted for, like we intend. What is your point?
We voted for somebody thinking that he was going to be a great guy because he can run a business.
No, I don't think anyone
fact
can.
that
He can
Yes.
run a business. This where he's going to be Mr. Nice Guy. No, we thought that he could possibly. People thought that he could possibly run a business. Therefore, maybe he could apply those negotiating skills and everything else and improve the United States economy,
But how did a business?
which would help people.
How did businesses help other? How did his businesses help anybody else but him?
I don't know. Why don't you find out how many people are employed by him and make their living because of him and his business?
Oh,
I would say those people are being helped by him.
Oh,
In my definition,
he has employed people.
Yes, and
who
those
can
people
help
now
him
have
to-
jobs,
he's
and
a-
they can pay for their. They can
What
pay
about all the
rent
contractors
and
that he's not
cars.
paid? These people are making money. That's not really his focus. Okay, these people can make some money, so I can make more money. That's not a president. That's not a presidential mindset. That's not how a president's mind is supposed to work. You work for me, so I can move my career forward. That's how he's operating.
But again,
The president is
nobody
there
said,
for the people.
Nobody said
the
that
people
he's
are
going to sit
there
there
for-
and be for the people. No, we're not
Trump is-
sitting there and saying that he's going to be a Mr. Good Guy
No,
because
Trump-
he was a businessman.
Trump-
It was possibly. It's not
people
about
are
being
there for
nice.
Trump.
He could possibly negotiate
Trump has
and
the-
do things that would help the economy.
Trump
which
has
would
the
then
idea of the
trickle
presidency
down.
wrong. He has the presidency wrong. He thinks the people are there for him. He is there for the people. He works for the people. His job is to help the people, not help him. Which seems to be all he's really
His job
been doing.
is to help the country, correct?
Has he?
Possibly in some ways.
Better than any other president?
Worse than any other president?
Oh, yeah. yeah. Anyway,
Arguable.
Well, this has gone on for an hour and 12 minutes. Should we call it, or I don't have a problem.
No, he hasn't.
continuing-
What? No, he hasn't helped the country, Miriam.
He hasn't helped people.
Because again, you sit there and say he hasn't helped people. But it's not like he's going to actually come down and say, okay, Miriam, what can I do for you? But I think it's actions that can be done by the president that will then trickle down and help people.
One sentence.
And yes, people do believe, and they're not necessarily wrong, that by having someone who is good in business, they can possibly influence the economy.
That's actually
that
Mary,
will
you brought up
help
a point that I want
people.
to talk about. That I've wanted to talk about. How Trump has really tied the country together in a big way. He's created such a strong coalition against him. People who are really, a lot of people who have set aside their differences and understood. Okay, well, yeah, on the Republican side, on each side, like you said, there's Jews who are fighting with Jews, there's Democrats who are fighting with Democrats, but people have started to bind together against Trump. But only one thing I really need to say, because I worked in the industry. Trump University operated like binary options. Lie to people, get them on your side, get them to give you more money, promise them, no, it's going to be the best. Trump is the number one player. He's going to give you the world. It's going to be amazing. You're going to love it. This was their script. They were told to say this. I know this script from binary options. You're going to be trading with this person. He's the best. He's going to get you the most money. He's the top trader in the world. He worked with Bernie Madoff. Not Bernie Madoff. What was his name? What is his name? Huge trader. Warren Buffett. worked with Warren Buffett, worked for Merrill Lynch, building this bullshit profile for yourself, saying that I worked in this industry and I have 25 years of experience and you're 30 years old. Just talking a big fucking game to get people's money, not pay out. This was one of his businesses. You know about this. You've seen that. That was binary options. 100% scam. That's our president. Somebody who was running a scam. And he knew it was a scam. I know these people. I know people like him. I know people that were running these industries. I know what they're like. You don't want them as your president. They don't give a fuck about you. They give a fuck about making more money for themselves. That's not a president. That's just a selfish person. I don't see anything good that he's ever done. He has a company. People work for him. So fucking what? They're making money. So fucking what? He doesn't care about them making money. They're making $40,000 a year, so he can make $400 million a year.
I'm not going to wait for my turn to come up again, since I don't think I'm going to get one. You didn't even call on me when I raised my hand.
No,
so I'm just going to jump the
go
fuck
ahead.
in and talk now. What good has he done? I'll give you. I forgot what the second one I was going to say was, but one.
It's not good
right?
that
you're
working hard to think of two things.
Two things he has done that I can't remember another president that's managed to accomplish, even though they've tried. He managed to get North Korea to sit down to talks.
Yeah, I have a thought about that, but go ahead.
I don't think it'll come to anything, but he got them to sit down. It's a step in the right direction either way. If it leads to nothing, it was an attempt. You got to talk to people to make peace.
I have a thought about that.
Okay?
I have a thought
and
about
the second thing he did is he got China to agree to lower tariffs on American car imports, which was huge.
Well, you know where that
means
started.
more money for the American economy, which, no matter how you look at it, is good for the people. Whether he likes those people or no matter what he thinks about those people, he managed to get them some more money. Ask those people that are going to benefit from that if they like that more money in their pockets.
I think both of those, though.
And you can sit there. Hold on. Now it's my turn. No. Now it's my turn.
Right.
Okay? And you asked, you can sit there and say, oh, sure, he employs those people. But you think, how many of your employees, the ones that you've always talked so lovingly about, how many of them really gave a shit about James? How many of them opened up a business and started it because they loved James so much and wanted? No, man. They wanted to make as much. They had dreams of being rich. And the more people they fucking employ,
like a businessman,
the more money. Yes,
that's my point.
Yes, and you're sitting there saying it's like oh, he does. They don't have to give a shit about you as long as they do their job and make money. Then you're making money. You have money to provide for your family.
But that's
you
not
can
how
go to
the
a store and buy
works.
things. That is how an economy works. I make money. I employ people. Those people have money. They go out and buy things with that money. They get anonymous to work for them.
Economists to work for them to help advise.
Economists. Well, yes. I would assume that
businessmen advise the president.
I would assume,
but they are not the president.
I would assume that all presidents have probably had economical advisors, and that's why the United States has been known to have such a rock steady economy in the last 10 years. It hasn't at all been like this and had lots of problems.
Right, first of all, stop yelling.
People haven't at all had bouts of 2, 4, 10 years of unemployment and everything. That's a great economy. So I'm sure all of those advisors they have were doing a really great job.
Okay, so back to North Korea.
Back to North Korea. So now you can understand why people have been unemployed and everything else. Maybe they said, you know what? Maybe if we had someone that could run a business and make money, maybe the economy would be better, and maybe I would have some money in my pocket. Maybe I would be able to get a job.
They picked the wrong businessman.
Maybe they did.
No, they picked the wrong businessman.
Maybe they did. But then again, you know what? What's to say that the other person who was running would have done any better at getting these people jobs?
Back to North Korea
and
the trade tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
I think these are both unexpected results of him being an idiot.
Maybe.
He wanted a war.
I don't think he wanted a war.
Of course he did. There's so much money in war. They make.
Of course they did.
There's so much money in
Where
war.
I don't want to sit here. I don't want you to sit here and give me circumstantial evidence. I want real evidence that backs that up. I want proof that backs up that he would finance, that he would benefit, and that's why he has done it. You don't have any. You are making a speculation of what you think.
Oh my God! Wow. I can't.
You can, because you have no real proof. You're just being like the Facebook person who read something and saying, "Oh, I like this because it's..." No, but you have no actual proof that backs this up, other than, well, he's got a friend that would make money from this and this person. And yeah, people make money off of war. All presidents have been at war. All our presidents have, one point or another, gone to war.
Why?
Just because of money? Just because of money? That's all you're going to say?
You understand how much money there is in war.
Just because of money? That's what you're going to say?
Hide money just for... No, I didn't say just for money.
So the rockets...
Stop with the absolutes. Stop with the absolutes. That's pissing me off.
The rockets that
just
France...
for money. That's the
only
rockets
thing. That France...
It's all only one
and
thing.
And the United States...
Thing. It's not only just for money.
Oh, England. Shot at Syria a couple days ago. That was for money?
What?
The rockets that we fired at Syria the other day, France, the United States, UK.
It was to try to get a war started.
That was to try and get a war started. Because there's not already a war going on.
Just look at how things.
There's not already a war going on. They have to get one started.
He was egging Kim Il.
7 years of war's been going on. They have to get one started.
He was egging Kim Jong-un on. Little Rocket Man. He's making fun of him. Just trying to push him into a war. Just trying to push him to piss us off.
See, I don't agree.
Hang on.
I think the Little Rocket Man had been pushing the United States.
Stop for a second. I'm on a topic. He was pushing him forward towards a war. Mm-hmm. China came in to stop it because China didn't want the war to start. So China came in. Xi Jinping open up dialogue. Well, they have dialogue with Kim Jong-un. He opened up dialogue, tried to get them. I think this is him trying to get Trump and Kim Jong-un together. I think it was a matter of coincidence. Not coincidence. They were trying to prevent a war, getting the two of them together. Now on the tariffs. So Trump was bullying China. They were bullying back, just going back and forth. And finally, we came to a better agreement on the trade tariffs.
I like how you sit there and say that Trump was bullying North Korea. And Trump, but you make it sound like that's where it started. Like we were all fine and good with those countries until Obama.
He stepped up the game for no fucking reason. Out of nowhere.
Maybe it was when it's like,
and
if you
China
if I hit you, if I punch you in the face right now, as long as I don't knock you out, what are you going to do?
Trump's
goal. If I punch you in the answer my question.
Trump's goal was not to start a dialogue.
If I hit you, what are you going to do? You're going to hit me back most likely?
Yeah, probably.
And then I'm going to hit you. And then you're going to hit me back. And I'm going to hit you. And you're going to hit me, but nothing's going to change.
Right.
We're just going to continue to do
until
something.
Somebody else comes in and moderates China.
Or until someone else, until...
Does it make any sense to you? Like, come on.
No, we went back and forth and did the same thing all the time. He came back and stepped up his rhetoric. But it wasn't anything new. It's not like North Korea hadn't been making threats and talking shit the whole time. He was just the first one that said, fuck you. And so that's because, oh my God, look what he started.
Dude.
He didn't start anything. He stepped it up a little bit. He didn't start anything.
Yeah.
You agree with? He didn't start it. He stepped it up.
Why?
That
started it.
Doing something.
Come on, man.
Okay. But if
stepping it up,
that's stepping it up. It's not.
Okay.
It's stepping it up.
We're on a level. You step it up.
You did not start the war. You stepped it up. You took it to another level. It's not starting something.
Oh, Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up.
Let me ask you a question.
Dude.
But let me ask you a question. Do you think China would have stepped in and tried to get us together if it was just status quo? If it was status quo, if he didn't do anything different than Obama or Bush or anyone else has done with North Korea, if he just sat there and they talked their crap and every now and then we throw them some money.
That was China preventing a war.
Answer my question. if he had not stepped up his rhetoric,
I'm not going to justify what Trump did.
Do you think? Of course not, because you might actually have to take a look and say,
no.
Well, maybe
it was because he made a
mistake.
He made a mistake. He did something wrong.
I don't think
China helped
wrong.
prevent it from getting worse.
When JFK put a blockade around the Russian ships trying to get stopped to come to Cuba, that a lot of people would have said, "Oh my God, he's taking us to the brink of war. What the fuck is this crazy guy doing, taking us head to head with Russia?" But in the end, it turned out, what was it, a mistake? Did he do something stupid that accidentally came up something good, or did he say, you know what, this is what we're going to do?
No, that was a defensive measure.
Okay,
that was a defensive measure.
Not necessarily defensive. Very easily could have brought us to war. Very easily could have almost brought us to war. When we what the fuck was that fighter? Not a fighter plane. The I want to say the B-7. It wasn't the B-17. The really fast fucking B-70.
B-32 Liberator
has no weapons. Just big fucking jets, and we flew over Cuba. It's what spotted the nuclear things that were being built there and took pictures and got shot down. It didn't get shut down, but it got shot at, okay? And if we had actually reported or acted on that shooting and everything, it would have gone to war. But the whole thing was, it was something needed to be done. You can't just sit there and allow your country to be bullied by North Korea or by Russia. At some point, you have to stand up and say, fuck you. We are the United States. We are a sovereign nation, and you're not going to fucking bully us. That is not bullying someone else. And if it led to something good happening, then God forbid someone should say he got something accomplished. God for fucking bid, someone should say Trump got something accomplished. Something that other presidents maybe haven't.
Hats off to him. Yeah, he's done a wonderful job.
I didn't say he didn't want to. He got something accomplished.
By accident.
But why is it what made okay.
He fucked up.
He didn't.
He fucked up.
He fucked up. Okay, you're right. He fell over one day and accidentally got something accomplished.
He fucked up in China.
It was an accident. Let's end the show.
Guys,
have a nice week.
China
didn't
want American nuclear weapons flying at them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you just end the show. We don't have to continue. There's no point. Because no matter what, you're never going to admit anything good could anything but accidentally. Oh, he accidentally fell down and chopped off his head, and that was the greatest thing.
Oh, you really think he's some fucking genius that had this whole thing planned out?
I don't necessarily think that he had this whole thing planned out. I think that something good happened, whether it was a plan or an accident. Why do you have to sit there and why can't you just say something good came of this? Maybe he wasn't just trying to purposely bring us to the brink of death and destruction for money.
I never said that it's not good that we're speaking with Korea.
Well, no, but you said the only reason we got there was because he was trying to make money. You can't possibly even admit that there was a possibility that something that he wanted to happen happened.
No, he didn't. Of course not. He didn't.
Of course not.
Because
you have all the proof in the world and everything else that it was an accident.
Go on the news. Watch the news.
Oh, the news. You're right.
Watch everything.
The news
watch
proves
everything. Anywhere, ever.
You're right. The news.
Oh,
he's bad. He's good. He's bad. He's good. What channel am I watching?
Follow the guy. Look at what he said. Look at how he acts. Look at what he's thought. Look at calling him Little Rocket Man. Was that a way to get him to the table? I don't think that was the goal there.
Maybe
that was just doing this. That was just doing this until somebody struck back. It was just taunting him.
Maybe it was.
He wasn't. There wasn't some secret motive here. And if there was, really, hats off to him. But I don't think that was the plan. Because everything you hear is, it's just a fucking nut house in the White House. Nobody has any idea what's going on. And there's no indication that there really is a plan, that there is really anything being thought out.
Little Rocket Man was getting loud. Like Little Rocket Man does every so many years, and like his father did every so many years. Guy got loud and said, oh, blah, 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 blah. And someone said, shut the fuck up. That was an accident? He accidentally told him to shut the fuck up? He accidentally didn't say, okay.
All right, bye, guys. You know you're twisting my words, so I don't have energy for it.
I'm using my own words. I'm not twisting anybody's words.
Here, well, let's see what Miriam says. What James was... Trump was acting like a Twitter bully, and China stepped in. He didn't plan on this happening. It's a good thing it happened. Right, true. But it certainly wasn't on purpose. He was looking for something to distract us from all the insane shit that's going on in the White House. That as well. Now, there's so many things I don't see any. There's zero redeeming qualities to the guy.
Okay.
A mistake turned out for the better.
Okay.
That's not a win.
It was a mistake.
Because what happens with the next mistake that doesn't turn out for the better?
Okay.
I don't see anything redeeming here. Anyway, we will continue this, but with funnies next week. We'll bring the funnies. Super Troopers is coming out. Yep, broken clock is right twice a day. Those were Miriam's. Actually, those were not Miriam's words, but those were Miriam's words here. We will find out who originally said that next week.
I'm not showing up if that's what we're going to talk about.
All right, guys. What's the word I say?
Say, oh, Trump is evil and all politicians love everybody and there's no corruption. That's what I think you said. But never mind.
No. I wanted to say what's the word I use? Totally forgot it. In English and in Hebrew.
That's
have
the word you
have
used.
a
I've heard you use it before.
No, have a Toph, we'll go back to a reverent Memorial Day. Because it's Memorial Day. Yom HaZikaron.
Back to a reverent Memorial Day because you can't remember a word?
No, it wasn't reverent. It was a...
Solemn.
Solemn.
Respectful.
Respectful. There was another R word. Anyway. Basically solemn.
Nobody can hear me now, so you might as well turn off the show.
All right. Bye, guys.